I decided a few big things. One, that I would quit my job by the end of the school year, and that I would find a new teaching job. Hi guys, it's Braylon. Welcome back to my channel. I woke up and I got this pit in my stomach because I was just thinking about this past school year and all of the complete garbage that existed. And I've been sitting here for a couple of minutes just kind of processing things. I'm not even going to apologize for putting this on the internet because that's what my channel is. It's my channel and I get to creatively express the things that I'm feeling. And it's kind of like a diary of me as a teacher. So I want to share some of that with you and just kind of process through the year. All right, so I finally got out of bed. I did a little bit on my computer. I took a shower. I ate some food. I had eggs, veggie sausage, and 2 pieces of gluten-free toast. And so I kind of am starting to feel like myself a little bit more. I was also kind of journaling a little bit more about all of this and all that I was feeling related to this school year. But I kind of needed to take a break to get myself some coffee. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. But can we talk about teacher grief and stages of grief for a hot minute? I watched a YouTube video about someone talking about grief when it comes to being alone in quarantine. And it started me thinking about teacher grief when it comes to not being with your students and not doing the career that you love. And I have a lot of thoughts about that. So I apologize if you hear things in the background. I cannot control that. But when it comes to teacher grief, I feel like I've been on a roller coaster ride. I know the graphic of how it goes but I really feel like that's what happened. I feel like the whole country was like that. But for teachers, there was this really weird moment in each stage of grief. So I feel like when we closed schools down, at first it was only for 2 weeks. So I was definitely in that denial stage. I mean, there were many other factors related to my job and working that kind of affected that. But yeah, it was for 2 weeks. So I was kind of in denial of okay, tread water, do what you got to do the bare minimum, and we'll be back in no time. But then every week it got extended. And then it's there was no end in sight. And especially in Massachusetts, there was no answer. There was no oh, we're closed or we're not closed. It took as of a month ago for them to officially close for the rest of the year. And so it kind of dipped into that. I think normally people feel angry, but I actually felt the opposite. My grief was that I felt liberated. And it was this weird thing. I decided to leave my apartment in Rhode Island and come up here to Maine and hang out with my family. I felt really liberated. I felt this, maybe I was going in a decline and I just didn't know it, but I actually really enjoyed my time, and I kind of still am, but there was still this sense of denial, still almost this grief that I couldn't put my finger on about what it was exactly. And then I feel for teacher grief, I kind of everybody reaches that low depressive state. And for me, it wasn't depression necessarily, it was a loss of creativity. Yeah, I dipped really low. And then I feel once we fully canceled school for the rest of the year, it wasn't I was on the up to acceptance 100%, but I think I just had this big realization okay, COVID is affecting the whole world, and there are things about teaching online that I don't like, and I have to accept that. And for me, the reason I wanted to become a teacher was to watch kids learn and to be a part of that and to support really needy kids and to support families. And so that was really why I chose the job that I chose and why I loved my job pretty much, or loved special ed in general. And when you're not seeing kids face to face and you're not working with families, it's not necessarily that you're angry or you're mad or whatever. For me, I realized it was like, oh, all the things about teaching that I love, I'm not doing. And all the things about teaching that I hate, like paperwork and correspondence and running meetings, are all the things that I'm left to do. And so it was like this big moment for me. And I actually interviewed this girl named Casey on my podcast, and she's a teacher in Texas, and she was the one who kind of first showed me that that was probably what I was feeling. That was so validating for me. And so I feel like I rode the ride of grief, if I can even call it that, like all the way back up to the top. And I'm not going to say that I feel like acceptance 100%. I don't enjoy this method of teaching, and I'm going to be honest, but there's nothing I can do about it. And if there's one thing I've learned, is that I'm much more prepared now. So whether in the fall we are still doing this, or we're back in the classroom and then there's a spike and we have to go back to distance learning, who knows? But I feel like I will be much more prepared than I was before. And I feel like I have the tools and the systems in place and the techniques that really work for me and work for my classroom. And I'm really grateful for that. And I feel like also my school year was so crazy this year. Maybe I will share that with you. I don't know if I'm ready to. I don't even know. COVID wasn't even the worst part of it. In all honesty, like there were so many worse parts. So yeah, maybe I will share that. I have a meeting, but maybe I'll find a time after to film it and add it in this video. We'll see. I want to give the story of this school year, and I want to make sure that it's short and succinct, but I also kind of want to talk about how COVID just changed and uprooted everything. But I do have to give you the backstory of my school year because it was also really awful. So I started the 2019-2020 school year really excited. Like I was really pumped, and at my school at the time, I was like, it was a good time. The summer was really fun. We all taught ESY. I had just really gotten serious about my YouTube channel, and so that was really cool to start interacting with people, starting to post videos of what I was excited and passionate about. The previous school year, the 18-19 school year, had been really challenging for me in many ways. And I think just every year is challenging, but there were a lot of behaviors. There were a lot of like school district-wide political type of things that had happened. And I know that happens in every school district, and there are many teachers who understand that. I don't have to get into too much detail. And so I was really looking forward to the 1920 school year because I felt like I was being set up for success. I had my classroom again, which was huge and spacious and really just everything you could ever want in a classroom. I had 3 staff who were all former either paraprofessionals or former like daycare preschool teachers, and I was teaching kindergarten through 2nd grade special ed self-contained, and that was like ideal because they all really understood how to teach phonics. They were really good with young kids. I'm telling you, this past school year we like rocked it out. Like we had such good groups, such good academics, such good like behavior management skills. Like my classroom was running beautifully. It was an incredible classroom. It could run without me. I didn't even have to be in the room. That's how good it was going. In my personal life, I was living with one of my best friends. We had like the dream apartment that we wanted. I had access to all my friends all the time. I was starting to build new friends in my community. I was really into like working out and fitness, and just personally I started teaching like fitness classes, and that was really cool, and I felt like everything was starting to come together. I also was getting really serious about YouTube, and so I had a YouTube studio that I was pretty much filming exclusively there, and I was producing really cool content that I was really proud of. My editing got better, everything. I felt like everything was making sense. And that was all until about October. A few things happened. And again, if you're a teacher and you're watching, you know why I have to be vague about certain things, because you just don't want to get too much into too many details, and it's it's a lot of stuff that happened around me. It wasn't stuff that happened to me. And so it's not my stuff to tell. Other things started happening at the school and the district level that happened around me. Like I said, people started dropping like flies. What it left was a massive hole at my job. And like I said, you don't know where my job was. You don't know any of the details about my job. So I'm pretty sure we're clear and safe. We were down staff every single day, and like call outs and sicknesses, and a lot of people, it was real. They were sick, and they all needed to be out. I'm not saying that people were making excuses. I think it was all genuine. It was reaching a point where like every day we were going to work so severely understaffed that I was like, I wasn't scared. I could hold my own, but it was not good. It was not good. And like I said, I am not giving you any details on specifics. And so come at me, but there's nothing here to tell. So that gets me to November and December. I'm very, very afraid of the people who have caused me a lot of trouble. I'm afraid of them. I'm gonna be honest. I don't care if they hear this and watch this and then they get all like happy and feel a lot of power by me saying that I'm afraid of them. I don't care. I don't ever interact with them anymore, and I never will interact with them again. And so I'm afraid of them. But I'm also aware that there are a lot of people who watch my channel who have gone through similar things at their school, and I don't want to not share this because I think, one, it's my right to share my opinions and my thoughts, and two, maybe it will help somebody else who's feeling how I felt. There were people at my old district, if I can call it a district, who were they enjoyed finding weak points in people and reporting them to the union. And they loved the union. They never wanted to talk face to face. They wanted to talk through a grievance of the union. And that's not just one person, that's everybody. That's people that I was close to, people that I wasn't close to. That was the culture of this place. I'm very much supportive of unions. I want to make that clear, but the culture of the place where I was working, they didn't use the union in the appropriate way. They used it in this inappropriate way. And so, yeah, I'm also afraid of those people because I don't trust them. And so I really, really, really don't want to say anything. And I was naive. I was stupid in trusting that the people I talked to in person would be kind and have my back. And that was on me because I think I was a bit too trusting of people. And so that added to my school year of pain because I felt like I was a little bit stupid. But as everything was falling apart around me, I was watching it all happen and I really couldn't do anything about it. It was other people's lives, other people's careers. I was just kind of like staying in my lane, doing my job. Another thing about my old job was that they almost had this like cult-like mentality about behavior, about their job. They would say things like, oh my gosh, if you go anywhere else, like you won't get the same support. Or, oh my gosh, if you leave here, everybody always comes back because it's so much better than everywhere else. Or we're the only people who think this about behavior and this about behavior. And so over December and Christmas, I was like, okay, I need to figure out what I love about teaching. And I need to figure out what I want for myself as a human being and where I want to live, what I want to do, who I want to be. And it kind of was a big wake-up call when September through December was so challenging for me as a teacher to realize that I had put so much time into being a teacher that I had kind of lost my sense of self. I decided a few big things. One, that I would quit my job by the end of the school year, and that I would find a new teaching job. Also, at the time, I was living in Providence, and I knew I wanted to live in Boston. So in January, I started applying to jobs, and I was loving my current job more because I gave no cares. And two, I was starting to see that there were so many jobs open and like so many cool things out there that I had never experienced. Then I got offered a job at a really cool place. And it was like the kind of school I had dreamt of, and I couldn't even believe that they existed. So my start date was March 16th. And so I was leaving my job on March 13th. And I was so scared because at the time I didn't know anything about what was coming up next in the world. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this is kind of scary. I'm leaving my job, my first job ever. But you know what? I'm going to do it because I am a confident woman and I'm moving on. And so I did. My last day of work was March 13th with them. We had like a little goodbye thing and all this stuff. And we had heard rumors about COVID, but it hadn't really reached our part of the world yet and hadn't reached our school system. So I just thought it was like nothing. And then over the weekend, everything shut down. And I was afraid because I was now not working at this old place and I was supposed to start at my new place March 16th, which was that Monday. And I was so scared. But my new job was like, oh no, come on in. Like we hired you, like it's still good. And I ended up like going in that Monday because they asked everybody to come in to like get supplies and stuff. And I was so impressed with how they were working and how they had a plan and how they were tackling like remote learning head on. And I started like crying as I was leaving that day because I was so grateful for this new place. And I had only been there for a couple of hours. So from March to now, so from March to the end of the school year, I cry about once a day out of gratefulness. And I have to say, remote learning sucks. I hope we never do it again. And I know that that's a possibility, but it's so much work and it's so impersonal and you don't get any feedback from kids and you don't get to see kids. And I understand it sucks. And I don't really enjoy sitting at a desk all day. And I think that's been said many, many times over the internet. But being home and being able to go to the bathroom when you want, being able to wear what you need to wear, being able to eat snacks and being able to like communicate with staff in different ways. And I feel like for me, I've been able to like plan next year and have the time to do that where I never would have had this time, like connecting with my family and Zooming with my friends and having a clear-cut time of when I'm getting off of work and getting to watch TV. I feel like I've been more creative during this time. And so for that, I'm so grateful I left my old job. COVID has changed education and it's changed my view of teaching. And in some ways it's better, in some ways it's worse. I feel like it was such a slap in the face to have to switch to teaching online and not seeing kids. And also I started a new job that day. And so it just made it like 10 times harder. But I don't even have words for what it feels like to plan something out and know that maybe only a few kids are going to see it and to put a lot of creativity and time into something and know that it might not even get watched by any kid, not getting any like understanding back, running IEP meetings over the phone. I mean, there's a lot of differences that I think have been really, really challenging. But I think maybe for me, compared to the challenges of, September to December, this feels like less for some weird reason. I don't know why a pandemic doesn't feel as bad to me as like a crazy experience of my job, but it does. And I'm not going to apologize for that. That's just me and that's just my experience. Okay, it's the end of my day. I finished work. I've done a ton. I want to enjoy my free time later on this evening. I want to end the video by saying many things, and I don't want this video to go too long, but This year was really weird, and I know that most teachers would agree that this was not ideal, but I have been so unbelievably grateful for this year at the same time, because I feel like it made me a better teacher, and it made me a better employee, a better friend. I feel like I finally have my priorities straight about what I want and what I don't want out of my work-life balance. And that might sound crazy to some people, but honestly, I wouldn't trade this for anything. And I think, one, it gave the teaching profession a lot of respect that we deserved. And I think for me personally, it really pushed me. And I'm so proud. I'm like so proud of what I've done, of what I've accomplished, of what people I've been able to meet, the videos I've been able to create, the really cool things I just never thought I'd be able to do this. And I'm so grateful. So I know that the school year is winding down for most people, and they're probably like, oh, good riddance, bye, I'm done, time for the summer. And I kind of am like that too, but if I could give you any advice, it would be to take like half a day and really think and journal out the things that you are grateful for this year, and so that you don't always have like a sour taste in your mouth when you think about this school year. So you guys are the best, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!